Hundreds of soldiers are out fighting for their country in places like Afghanistan, Africa, Canada and Germany. They're putting their lives on the line to make sure you can live in peace, but what do they get back? They get ignored and forgotten about while no one takes the time to support them. This is why the Poppy Appeal provides lifelong support for all of the men and women who risk their lives fighting for our freedom. But what really happens to them?
I was in the Grenadier Guards, which are those silly soldiers that stand outside Buckingham Palace with the furry hats on.
Royal Army Service Corps, driver. Training in the first fortnight was what they call selection. We were selected whether we wanted to be a driver or a clerk or any other trade. And that was just a fortnight in Aldershot. I chose to be a driver. I was then taken, we went down to Yeovil, to Houndstone Camp, where we learnt to drive a 3-tonner and also mechanics as regards how to repair the vehicles as well.
The war started on the 3rd of September 1939, and I was in the army. Not then, I promise you. I was only a child. But the army works as regards all the units get what we call mobilised. They were mobilised on the 2nd of September. On the 3rd of September, war was declared. Before that happened, all the children, or most of the children in the big cities, were evacuated to keep them away from the bombs. And when they've been evacuated, they were taken away and into the small villages and towns in the United Kingdom. I give you some idea of figures. 600,000 children from London were transported by train to various places in England, Scotland and Wales without their parents. They all carried with them gas masks. And here is a photograph of those children being evacuated. They were put on trains and sent to various places around the UK. A very, very scary thing to do. Just imagine, taken away from your parents, you had no choice.
Well, first of all, we learnt how to be soldiers and do drill, because obviously being guards, being outside Buckingham Palace and doing Troop in the Colour, that was the main thing. Then we did that for 14 weeks. Then we went up to Thetford in Norfolk and learnt field training and how to shoot a gun. And that was the basic training. I then went to the battalion, the 1st Battalion, who were based at Caterham, and went straight into the Queen's Company. I did 18 months in the Queen's Company, then I trained to be a company medic at first. Then I went on courses and I've become one of the battalion medics.
Training was hard, because I'd never even been away from home. But during my time in Germany was enjoyable. One or two things which, I was an ambulance driver in Germany and saw a bit of blood. The biggest ignominy of the lot, I got taken to hospital in my own ambulance.
And as the time went on, from September, I think we've been told what somebody called the Phony War. The Phony War was when Germany was invading Poland, and that was their main thrust until we had something called a treaty with Poland, and the treaty was that if Poland was invaded, Great Britain and other countries would help those countries. Subsequent years, around about December, January the following year, 1940, Germany started to attack France, and our soldiers were in battle with them. and the things started happening.
My routine, we had something called duty ambulance, and each platoon, A, B or C, did duty ambulance. We also went on what we call schemes, where we, during the Cold War, we had to have what we call crash outs. And we had to be out of camp in 2 hours with all our kit, all the ambulance kit, and when we got to the main gate, we were given a map and a map reference, and either left or right. Could involve a drive of anything up to 2 hours in the middle of a forest, and what we call scrimming up, in other words, camouflage the ambulance. That was quite difficult with big red crosses on the side, but that's the sort of thing we did. We were on constant alert. Would I sign on again? Yes, I would, but as somebody else has said, the discipline then is nowhere near the discipline of today. While I was in, yes, you were well looked after while you were in, but different story when you came out.
Yes and no. They seem to do more for the soldiers today than they did when I was coming out with injury.
The first thing that happened was something called rationing. Rationing of food. There was no bananas, no oranges. And something called rationing. Rationing as regards food, and rationing as regards sweets. Hands up, who likes sweets? Everybody. A big chocolate. Yes, I thought so.
Poppy appeal is very important to me. I first of all started to sell poppies in 2008. I started as what I call a poppy collector, and 4 years ago somebody approached me, the poppy appeal organiser, said, would you like a job, Mike? So I took on the job of a poppy appeal organiser for Fareham. Thoroughly enjoy it, hard work, and a great crowd of helpers that really look after us.
It's important because I feel that we've got to remember all the lives that have been lost, not only in the First World War, but right through to today. I mean, it's important that we don't forget these sort of things. I mean, being an old soldier, I get annoyed when I see people who don't pay respects. I mean, it's like, it's a way of remembering. I mean, I really got upset when I was doing a poppy appeal in Fareham, and a little child come by. We had a stall, and what we were doing, we were giving balloons to the kiddies. We weren't expecting. So I give this little kiddie a balloon, and it said poppy appeal on it. Next thing I know, I'll get a mother storming over to me, throwing the balloon at me, saying, I don't want you promoting war to my son. And I had to bite my tongue a bit when I said, well, we're not promoting, we're trying to remember. I think the message is getting lost to a lot of the, I must admit, in Fareham I find the younger people are very good. But yeah, I think as the years go on, it gets further and further back. And I mean, it'll end up like 1066, it'd just be a bit in history that...
In there's 15 sweets, right? And there's a Mars bar. If I gave you these 15 sweets and the chocolate bar on the 1st of the month, how long do you think that had to last you? Yes.
8 months.
How long?
A month.
A month. Any advance on a month? Yes.
2 years.
Sorry?
2 years.
2 years?
Yes.
Not that long. Okay, sure better. Yes.
Well, I think 8 months.
You think about 8 months? Yes.
About 4 weeks.
Pardon?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Yes.
5 or 6 6 months.
5 to 6 months, right. That had to last you, right, a month. Right? 15 sweets. In other words, 30 days in a month, a sweet every other day. Just one sweet every other day. And a chocolate bar, which my mum used to chop up for me into bits. That's right, how did you guess? Subsequent years, that was all what you were allowed as regards sweets. And as regards food, that was rationed as well.
We are, should we say, the front of the Poppy Appeal, and one thing has changed. The Poppy Appeal used to take place, and we were at the front of people's, in October, November. But nowadays we are trying to put the Poppy Appeal through the whole year, and various events happen through the year for keeping the Poppy Appeal in the public eye. It helps people like me. Yes, I'm in a wheelchair, but that is not the reason that is not army, it's something else. But the Poppy Appeal helped me as regards in a wheelchair. They fitted a automatic front door for me. All I do is go to the front door, push a button on my keyring, door unlocks, door opens, I go in, and they also put French windows at the back so I can get out the back. They really looked after me and supported me.
It helps people because, excuse me, one they do a lot of good work for disabled soldiers, and like myself, I got offered a flat, and I'm on my own and only got my war pension and a small army pension, and I couldn't afford to get all the things I wanted to go into a flat because the council don't put it in anymore. And I applied to the British Legion, and they made a donate. Well, they gave me quite a sum of money to help sort my flat out.
Also, the other things which happened was in every house there was put something called a shelter from the bombs. And there were two types of shelter. One was called an Anderson shelter, which was made of corrugated iron, and there's one. And that was sunk in the ground to about there. There was also a brick shelter. And so in 1940, 41, the bombs started to drop. Bombs dropped on factories and on houses and shops. But the main thing that the Germans were actually bombing was aircraft factories. My father was what they call a precision engineer. And he worked in Birmingham, and he was moved from Birmingham to Bristol, because he was a precision engineer, to work on aircraft engines. And Mum and I moved from Birmingham to Bristol.
The history of the Poppy Appeal started in 1922. A lady in America made 1 million silk poppies, and a French lady, Mona Michael, bought all these poppies to England, and they sold for £106,000 in 1923. That was a lot of money. And so the poppy, that was the very first Poppy Appeal. And so the Poppy Appeal has gathered size, and we have, there's a poppy factory in Richmond, and our main depot is in Aylesford in Kent, where all the poppies come from. And my bungalow, well, my bungalow shed and also my conservatory is solid with poppies at poppy time. In this last year, I did something called a Battleback-a-thon, which is gaining information where the money goes. The Royal British Legion have various care homes dotted around the country, and also something called popping shops, where people that want help from the Royal British Legion. The care homes, there is 7 altogether. I visited 6. There was one I can't visit because it didn't have a railway station. And I gathered that information so that I can go to schools and other organisations to tell people where the money goes. The public are extremely generous. They gave us lots and lots of money, and last year's figure was £46 million, and people need to know where that money goes.